Hello, I'm Trinity.
0, 1. Let's get started.
Having the respect and affection of other people is one of the most important things in life. Yet we don't think about it much, except when we're outside of the group, wanting to belong. Whoa, man, wake up! You know I'm not that sacrifice! I was sitting wishing I was...
Mind you, I'm on live right now. Not saying it's not my free will. I have free will. But, you know, the little intuitive little spark you get when your guides tell you to hop on something, hop on a platform, or to do something at a specific hour, at a specific time. I'm right within the window. It's 3:55. The sun is about to rise. Maybe an hour, but it's already rising. I'm seeing the sky turn to like a pinky purple already. It's still dark, so yeah. I don't know what I'm about to say. I don't know what I'm about to channel. But Spirit definitely wanted me on live on this page. So I'm going to just be obedient. God, I don't feel like I have issues with that word obedient. So I like to say subservient. I used to have problems with being submissive, or I didn't like that word, but I've transcended past the ego anger I get from that word, subservient, however you say it, or just being in that energy, because all that is technically is a feminine energy in a sense. We're still working on the word obedient. Because at first I wasn't upset about that word. I don't know. Recently I'm starting to be more offended by that word, obedient. Because it makes me think of slave type of parenting style. That's what it kind of reminds me of. Or a one-sided parenting style. That's what the word obeying. Now that I'm saying it, it's just making me question the word. Because obviously growing up in a kind of semi-strict household, you don't question a lot of things, and the things you do question out loud, you definitely get reprimanded for. So obeying has never been a problem for me growing up, because that's what especially older daughters, I don't know, that's what we're made to do, quote unquote. But I for some reason had a problem with being subservient, because I was so disconnected from my feminine energy as I got older, because of watching how the people around me, the older people, were interacting in relationships, and I didn't like it. So I think parts of my inner child was fucking uppercutting the feminine version of myself. Like, the child in me was beating the fuck out of the grown woman in me. And that's insane. Like, they were fighting, and the inner child was fucking winning. Like, she was like, I don't give a fuck how old you are. Boom, bing, bing, bing. I'm like, damn. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I think that's the topic, I guess. Subservient versus obedient. Subservient. If I'm saying that word wrong, please correct me. But yeah, those two. Sub versus ob. I feel like maybe Spirit wants me to talk about that, because they are very different. First of all, I feel like they have different definitions.
Let me be very clear. When I mean I'm more comfortable with being subservient nowadays, it is to God, the Most High God. Okay? Source. The universe, like the Most High God. That's the only thing I will probably blindly follow, or really won't question as much in this lifetime, because I have so much faith and trust in a higher power, the higher power.
They're probably synonyms in the dictionary, but definitely I believe they have different definitions. Regardless if I decide to look it up, subservient and obeying, they have two different energetic meanings to me. how I perceive them. So that's what we're going to be basing this little live off of. I don't know how long I'm going to be on here, but the time is 3:59, so it's about to be 4 o'clock on the dot soon. I'm more than likely going to post this on my main YouTube channel. So if you're watching this, I love you. Nighttime, I had to fully trust spirit. And when I was younger, I did fully trust spirit. But because of certain fear tactics that rained on me, or just certain experiences that I've experienced over the years, it kind of makes you more guarded, and you end up sheltering yourself the same way your guardian sheltered you as a kid. It's so weird how the things we run away from our childhood, we end up using those same tactics to punish ourselves as we get older. Anyway, I'm getting a download about Big Brother, and not like the conspiracy Big Brother. I'm talking about the literal show Big Brother. I don't know if anybody have watched Big Brother, but when I spent my time in my own personal hell, my own hellscape for a few years, that was one of the shows I binge watched, like almost all the seasons, even now, like season 1, and that shit, like now that I'm out of whatever psychosis I was in at that time, that shit was insane. Every move, everything that they were doing was monitored in some way, shape, or form. Like, even down to the sound of them using the bathroom, them having intercourse, like everything was recorded. Obviously, for live television, they were heavily edited for consumption, and they took out a lot of stuff because of, rights people have to certain privacies when they're on, like, regular television. But since I wasn't hip to Big Brother when it was, like, really, like, out there and popular, I didn't know. Well, I kind of knew when I was watching it, but they had a live stream on their website, so people would go. And obviously, Big Brother is not a new thing. It's an old show, and they have a website. I don't know if they still have it, but they would put the live stream on the website, and people would watch it for hours. And it's like, you think that Instagram and all these newer platforms in this generation is new? You think we're doing something fucking new? Like, I know a lot of people are obsessed with the early 2000s, but child, like, you need to get out that obsession and really study the early 2000s and the 90s. And actually, Spirit is saying study the 1995 to 2005. That time period is very crucial and is very significant as to how the world is going to kind of shift within the next 5 to 7 years. Because it definitely was a precursor as to what the fuck we're doing now and what we've been doing. All this iCarly stuff and all these Instagram lives and all these TikTok lives, like, they were already doing that shit. And Big Brother paved the way. I'm not saying Big Brother was the first person to freaking hide. Oh, don't mind my face. Bruh. Everyone comes on my life in the freaking weirdest times. I just woke up. Anyway, I'm talking about Big Brother and how it's spiritually connected to, that show is spiritually connected to us right now, because they literally filmed everything in that fucking show. Like, oh my gosh. And the obsession that people had with that show was mentally, like, ill in a sense, if you think about it, because why the fuck are people on this live stream so obsessed, so enticed, and like, oh, like nothing we do is new? If you start hearing people say, oh, nothing's original, bitch, they be stealing work. And that's another thing I will not touch on right now, because I have a temper when it comes to people stealing creative endeavors and creative works, because that shit does not just come out of thin, like, that just doesn't come out of people's asses, bruh. Like, a lot of these creative direction, a lot of these photo shoots, a lot of these drawings, a lot of this music, a lot of this stuff that's coming from, like, the divine source, or wherever it wants to come from, hell, wherever it wants to come from. These seeds are planted in a lot of these vessels as a child. So I really find it very, very funny how, this is why I'm not in the industry, bro. I swear to God, bro, I would have been dead. I'm not trying to disrespect any artist right now, but I know a few artists' path that I probably would have ended up taking, and I would be dead. The mental fortitude you have to be in the industry and not crash out and not be vocal because they have you under some type of contract. Man, I'm not going to say too much on this live because I don't want to get censored or whatever. But it's very, 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 very easy to be going insane. And when I mean insane, I don't mean like, oh, I'm going insane. No, bitch. It's like, I've dodged the psych ward, bro. And I need to stop saying that out loud before they put me there. I'm okay. Bro, Spirit told me to come on live and talk about this stuff, but this shit is dangerous. Like, if you come from hell, if you're born in hell, you legitimately have to transmute that here. And it's not going to look pretty. And a lot of people end up, like, viewing certain people as, oh, you're the devil. Look, I've been called a devil worshiper, like, for years. The modern day Christian would probably call me a false prophet. And honestly, I'm not mad at that. I'm really mad at these. Spirit's telling me to shut the hell up. I just smell a faint smell of a skunk. I think that was spiritual. I don't think that was literal skunk. That might be significant for somebody. I don't know what skunks represent spiritually. I smell it again. But I definitely, what I'm getting from that skunk energy is that there are people, places, things that have an entity attached to them that my collective needs to let go. You need to let that shit go. Excuse me, spiritual burp. You need to let that shit go. Pronto. Because how do you want to go into this new world? How do you want to live? Not just live, but how do you want to be alive? How do you want to be present? How do you want to be really, truly in this realm and having your way if you're still tied and bound by the shackles that you came here with? You need to break that shit, bro. It's not something that you are supposed to hold on so tightly. And that's like that soft mode type shit, that past life type shit, that those relationships you had before this moment in time that you're so attached to because you didn't want to learn the law of detachment before you started your spiritual journey. A lot of my people, my collective, they're so spiritually gifted and so spiritually inclined and so beautiful in every way, shape, or form. But for some reason, a lot of us did not take the time to learn the law of detachment. We all learned the law of manifestation, the law of, but no one wanted to study the law of detachment first. That, I feel like if there was like some sort of Hogwarts spiritual mentorism type of video that everyone needs to watch before they really enthrall their spirit into their journey, like on a conscious tip, the law of detachment should have been the very first thing all of us should have studied, especially the people with addictive personalities, bro. Especially ones with addictive personalities. Learning the law of detachment is so key because if you don't, like, bro, a lot of people, if you don't, Spirit is trying to like probe me in a way where when I say these certain things, I don't say it to offend and I don't say it to hurt anyone. But a lot of you guys are in relationships with psychic vampires or energy vampires. And I will touch on those topics maybe in a later note on my other channel. But there's a difference between energy vampires and psychic vampires. First of all, they're in two different leagues. Energy vampires are just like, they're like, oh, okay, energy vampires. But psychic vampires are tricky because you assume that they are high and mighty, spiritual gifted. They're spiritual gifted, okay? But they're psychic vampires. So they get their power from feeding off of their own collective. They're not... Sorry, I just saw a shadow person. Fuck. They get their energy off of feeding off their collective. They get their energy off of feeding from their partners, their family. And a lot of you guys are in these relationships or you're very heavily attached or tied to these people with these types of spirits. And Spirit is saying, what's that song? I'm getting a channel. God damn it. It's like, oh, okay, I'm getting a different channel because Spirit's like, oh, bitch, you can't figure out the name of the song. Give me a different song. When you said it was over, you shot right through my heart. Why you let these... Okay, skip. You should beware of a woman with a broken heart. Okay, so I'm talking to the masculines right now. And when I say masculines, I could be talking to a man or a woman, but just with who's ever embodying their masculine energy at this time. And you are in conversation or you're in a relationship or you're dealing with a man or a woman who is in their feminine energy that is a psychic vampire, and they have like a scorned heart. A scorned heart, bruh. And whether you broke their heart or their heart had been shattered from childhood or they've been dead and gone, bruh, please let that shit go. And I don't want to start crying. You guys are going to fucking smudge my clown makeup right now. But, child, let that shit go. Let that shit go. And if you can't let that shit go immediately, you idiot, then let that shit die naturally. Let the petals fall off one by one, because, you know, this full moon in Scorpio that just passed definitely was a great moment for you guys to do some heavy releasing, screaming, shouting, uploading music, creating, like, just whatever, releasing, you know, cleansing. And if you didn't take that full moon energy to cleanse shit out of your life, continue to do it now, because when the full moon happens, leftover energy always is left. So you're not late in a sense. If you're in this video right now, you're right on time. Keep fucking with spirit. Keep fucking with God. God is giving a lot of you guys direct messages, and you're letting these psychic vampires you're in relations with trick you out of your spot or spiritually gaslight you, bruh. Please get rid of it. Please get rid of it, because if you don't, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but if you don't, you could A, end up back in a karmic cycle, or B, you could be taking them into your dharmic cycle. You could be taking them into the next life. You're entering to the positive reality. And if you take a parasitic entity with you into your next world, your new world, what do you think it's going to do to you and the world around you? What do you think it's going to do to the people, the new people, or the new spirits, or the new angels, the new spiritual contracts that you are coming into? Like, what do you think? It's going to poison the lake. That's like bringing oh my gosh, bro. That's like bringing a bomb into a pool. Like, that's like bringing something into like a function, like, you know better not to bring in the function. Sorry, I had to spit. And I know some of my collective hate the sound of spit, so I very apologize. But yeah, like, let's take care of that. Like, as adults, you're not supposed to continuously hold on to things that you know better not to hold on to. And then we get mad when your blessings don't come in a good, like, your blessings are coming in a distorted way. What do you think it's gonna come? Like, what do you think you're gonna inherit in this lifetime holding on to bullshit? Or holding on to things everybody in my collective are of age. All of y'all are adults, right? Whether I don't even like to speak to only 18-year-olds because you guys are fucking young, but some of you guys do tap in. But even the 18 to the 55 to the 75, you guys, we are all adults, unfortunately. So we gotta do adult shit, bruh. We gotta do things that hurt our feelings and the people around our feelings. Yes, they may look one way in the physical and the 3D, but they are not who you think they are. They are not who everyone perceives them to be. The people with the prettiest smile, or they look the most innocent, are usually... Okay, Spirit, something I can leave now, because I don't want to make this too long. I feel like a lot of my collective is getting what I'm saying, you know. And I also feel like a lot of people in my collective can take what they dish out. And I'm very proud of a lot of people in my collective that you can do that, because a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people cannot take what they dish out. Like, imagine you talk big shit, but when somebody gives you constructive criticism, you curl up in a ball and fucking cry. Imagine doing that in, like, your 60s. And if that's you, child, you might need some other, I don't know. I don't want to say people are too far gone in this lifetime, but it's easy to get stuck in these cycles. And a lot of people, spiritual mentors, be like, oh, well, don't help the older people, they're too far gone. I've seen older people, unfortunately, yes, they got to that point of, like, no return, but they awoken at 60 or awoken at 70. Yes, that's fucking late, and that's not something a lot of people want to do, but that is a tough journey, and I'm honestly sending love to the people, the older, like the elders in my collective that are awakening right now. It's not your fault. Okay, you have to take responsibility for your actions, but it's not your fault about the times you grew in, the generation you grew up in, none of that. That's what I want to say, is that is not your fault, because I can't imagine growing up in the 80s. I can't imagine even growing up in the 90s. Like, I'm born 2001, so I can only give you perspectives of a 2001 baby and maybe some other perspectives of my past lives. But in this reality, that's when I was born. So I can't imagine for the people who were born before me, even if you were just born in the 90s. That shit was hard, and you are seen. And I love you all, and I'm leaving.